You're watching PEGRI TV, Rhode Island's public access channel.
Oh, you didn't know? Yes, it is.
Everybody to the Hot Tag. Brought to you by the Official Wrestling Museum. We are your hosts. I am Angel, and this is the Official Wrestling Museum's Hall of Famer,
No live.
and we are here. So we actually, this is a special, we're taping all this week's episodes a little earlier than usual, just because our schedule is so, our community outreach is really getting out there right now. So we're kind of a little bomb a leak this week, but it's okay.
We're not in the normal studio.
Yeah, but that's okay. We're going to do what we do best, and we're going to deliver and give you the answers to your questions because you guys have been sending them in, and we thank you. Go to theofficialwrestlingmuseum.com, send your questions in there or our social medias, and we'll do our best to answer each and every question that we can get to each and every week. You want to dive right in? You got something
Well, I
special
was
to
going
say?
to say
You want
part
to
of
do the hokey pokey? What do you want to do?
I was going to say part of the reason we're on the road is because we did the epilepsy. We've been
Yes.
talking about the epilepsy walk, and we did that this weekend, the weekend before. We'll get into another. We'll do a whole special next week.
Yeah,
but-
next week on Off
yeah.
the Roast, we're going to dedicate it to like all our community outreach and really explain how we can be a part of your projects that we don't charge for at all. So let's toss that out there, and how we can give back and help you guys out as well too. So
And just to thank you, because I know a couple of people sent in some donations.
yes,
So thank you for that. Like I
Fantastic.
said, yeah, like I said, I know firsthand that the money goes to what it needs to go to. So very touching that people, even viewers, would send in some
Go like this, touch,
donations.
touch,
Yeah.
touch.
All right,
But if you want to still keep helping,
Yeah.
that QR code right there on the bottom, scan it. Let's make National Pro Wrestling Day a legit thing. It's already in the state of Rhode Island for June 13th, so let's get it nationwide. With your help, it's totally free to do. Takes less than 10 seconds, guys. So let's jump right in. Wow, you moved all the questions literally to one side of the
I was going to say one last
Like,
thing.
look at this.
One last thing when it comes to the epilepsy walk. I know that they do a Rhode Island walk. I just don't know when it's going to be. It's a little later in the year, so as that happens, we'll get more on that. All right, so let's get to the fun part, the questions. Why did WWE change their name from WWF?
Well, as you pay attention to our shows, it will always be WWF to him.
It just is, you know.
So it honestly goes back to the Wildlife Foundation,
Yeah.
the one that has the WWF logo with the panda. All of a sudden decided to cry like babies and say, oh, that's our logo name. Like it was like, oh my God, I woke up and somebody else is using it. That we're using
Well,
it
I
for
think
what? Like a
that,
good
you know,
19
no,
years or something? Not
Yeah, but I
19
think
years,
that there
but-
was like a distribution deal or something. I can't, you know, I don't want to.
There was something back.
Yeah,
I remember the
I think they weren't
commercials and
supposed
stuff
to.
with them
Yeah,
back in the day
and I
too.
think,
So
honestly, I think it was. Trying to remember. I think they weren't supposed to sell like videotapes or something out of the country. It was something like that, and WWF, Vince McMahon didn't listen, and they did it anyway. WWF World Wildlife Fund finally came down on them. They had a lawsuit. Everyone jokes it's WWF couldn't beat themselves or whatever, and the things that came out of it that were funny were like you see like the WWF logo, you would see the shirts
Yep.
with the panda bear hitting them,
Yep.
hitting another panda.
get the F out,
To be honest,
and that's the
you
logo
know,
in the F.
to be honest, I mean, as you can tell from when I talk, I still say WWF. It'll always be WWF to me. But WWE never clicked with me at first. Now, when you think about it, it is a better name for what they do or what in their minds we're entertainment, pal. And
Yeah.
it's WWE. It's just awkward that, you all you had to do was follow these specific guidelines, and you don't, and now you lose that name.
Yep.
But again, did Vince McMahon really care to lose the WWF
No.
name?
I don't think he really did, because if he
I
really
think it
cared about
happened
tradition, he would have kept the WWF.
I think, you know what? I think maybe the one good thing that happened, it was the timing of it, because that was right after he bought WCW and ECW. So it was almost like, well, you were already rebranding all of wrestling. Now it's all under one banner. And then they did have the really cool Get the F Out
Yeah.
campaign, which
That
was pretty cool.
That was cool. That
Yeah.
that was very beneficial to them.
Do you care? Like, I know you call it WWE.
So-
it's always, I'll slip up and call it WWE sometimes, but it's always going to be WWF to me.
Yeah, to me, it's always WWF. I think working with the museum for so long now that it's just drilled into me, WWE, we have to dot our I's, cross our T's type of things. Now, in the time that we're at right now in life, it really doesn't matter,
Yeah.
what's really said, because it's so well known and out there. But yeah, I fell in love with wrestling because of WWF.
The hard stuff about it was having to go and edit all the footage.
Yep.
To put the blur over the WWF logo, and it's only the scratch logo too. It's not. I mean, I know they don't. Well, now it's everything, but mainly it was just the scratch logo at first.
Yeah, yep.
But yeah, I mean,
Do you know who made the scratch logo?
It caused a lot of. It created a lot of jobs because they had to have people go in and
Yep.
blur out those. Who
It was Shane McMahon. He was 3 years old, and he scribbled that for his dad.
Oh, yeah?
And that's where they ended
Okay.
up coming up with the Scotch logo, yeah.
All right, let's see.
Let's get into the next one. Who do you feel would have had a chance of being a WWE agent that never had a chance to because he messed up?
Who do I think would be a good agent?
That didn't get a chance to because he messed up or
Well,
she messed up.
I
You gotta
mean,
be
I'm not,
politically correct.
I'm not sure if I know all the guys that have been agents. I think that that's a good question.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a thoughtful question.
Yeah. We're getting cloudy in here, folks. The
No,
wheels are turning in his head.
Well, I know Jake the Snake wanted to
Okay.
be, and he was, but he wasn't. I
Yeah.
mean, Jake the Snake would be a guy. Jake the Snake Roberts would be a guy. I know Demolition Axe, Bill Eadie wanted to get into the office, and that's why he ended up leaving because that didn't happen. But you think about maybe like a Paul. I don't know if Paul Ellering ever did. Maybe a Paul Ellering. He's an older guy now. You think of the guys that have the minds, and I know Dean. When it comes, I know Dean Malenko did transition into an
Yep.
agent. I heard that he wasn't the greatest, but I would think someone like that. I think Eddie Guerrero might have made a good agent. Just guys that could put good matches together. I think Jericho could possibly be a good agent. You got to think of the guys that you know are creative. I think maybe what's his name? Bobby Eaton, I think would have been a good one.
Absolutely. For me, and especially that they said because they messed up, I would say Justin Credible.
Really?
I would think Justin Credible would have had a shoe in for who he was close with. He had the wrestling abilities. He has the mind for it. He just went down the wrong road, and that road is still continuously grabbing him again and again. And I think if he didn't, he would have either been an agent or at least a coach down in NXT.
I think I was kind of just thinking of guys that could have done it. I thought would have been good agents. I didn't think of the messed up part. I think obviously Jake the Snake counts in. I don't know if he truly was an agent, but
I don't know if he really wasn't. I know he was doing some backstage stuff. I don't know if they actually count him as an agent or a production crew.
that's a really good question, though.
Keep sending questions in, guys, especially ones like this or any type, because this is we enjoy this. This is our life, and
Yeah, I
you
just
know
don't
what I
want
mean?
to sit here with dead air. Go, thank you.
Right.
You know? Okay, who has some of the best autographs? You know, I have two autographs: Hulk Hogan and Ric Flair.
I'll give you mine after the show. Just because you're special, I'll give you the long one because I'll charge you $20 an
I think
autograph.
Lowlight has a good autograph. You know,
You do. You do. I do like how you
Especially-
guys shoot.
well-
You.
I mean, I know I gave one out recently. Someone stalked me on the side of the road.
Yep.
That was a pretty good autograph,
That was
right?
cool. We were behind you. I'm like, oh, look at that. That's cool.
And the fan was happy to get that autograph. But you know what? For me, I don't know. I don't even know what the autographs look like. That's your thing.
So for me, I think they're asking for like just the look itself. So if it's just the look, I always like wrestlers. Just how he made his V. He took
Viscera?
up, yeah, how he took up, and he's a Hall of Famer too for the Official Wrestling Museum. But he always took up a big enough space. It made sense. You know, he was probably the one I really liked the most. Possibly Brett. Sometimes his signature really looked great. Other times it was not so because it was compact in different areas. So definitely, and it also depends on what you get it on.
Yeah.
But Big Daddy V, he was always cool on anything you got him on. It always looked good.
Okay. Autographs.
Autographs, signatures. Could DIY be one of the greatest tag teams of this time?
Well, you know, going back a show or two on the Four Corners, I put them in one of my corners.
You did.
I think that they are one of the top two tag teams at the time. I think them and FTR are the two best tag teams going today. I mean, I don't go by their matches on Raw. You know, it's such a different product on Raw than like when they had on NXT, the matches they had with FTR, and then they had two good matches. They had a really good one with Authors of Pain, who not the best when you think about in ring work. They had that really if you can pull some good matches out of some teams that you know aren't the best. Yeah, I definitely think they are. I get what they're doing with the DX lookalike thing now, but
Yep.
I really think they're both great, solid workers.
Yeah.
Two of the better workers. So
I think-
the answer is yes. They're probably top two or three teams.
Absolutely. And the great thing about them is they're true real life friends. You know what I mean? They really are. And if you can grow up in this business and know each other so well, the matches against each other or with each other is going to be endless. The opportunities and the memories you can make it's there because you have that ability because you know that person so well. You know what I mean? Like, look at you and Saj.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you guys can go out there and not skip a beat, no matter if it's one-on-one or a tag.
Right.
It's because of how long you guys known each other. So I think these guys here, and especially, you know, Hunter's really big on them. I think they're going to definitely be the tag team that's going to hold down WWE for.
They're great together. Their feud in NXT was great. I could be wrong, but I do think that when they originally went to NXT, they were only supposed to be there for a run. They weren't. I could be wrong about that, but I remember reading that they were just there at the time. They were bringing in like all the indie guys.
Yep.
And I don't think they were supposed to be. And now we're talking about 7 years later. And looking,
And Ciampa didn't even want to be moved up.
yeah, I remember.
You know what
that.
I mean? So, yeah.
Yes. All right.
You got to love Truth working with them, too. And Miz, nothing against him, but Truth's just,
Miz?
he's funny. He's so entertaining.
Okay, what group was better, NWO or NWO Wolfpack? Now, when we're talking about NWO Wolfpack, I would assume that we're talking about when they switched, not just Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, and
Right. I would
Six.
think maybe like Black and White
yeah.
Wolfpack. I
So
would think.
I'm going with original NWO. NWO Wolfpack was cool when it came out, but it didn't have the longevity. And if you look back in time, it's almost like, okay, it's all NWO Wolfpack should have not been NWO. They could have just called it the Wolfpack.
Yeah.
Because you had Luger, Sting, DDP should have joined with them.
Yeah.
And you could have had it be still Kevin Nash and whoever else was in it, Conan. They could have been the WCW guys to go up against the NWO, and Kevin Nash could have led it or whatever. You didn't need to call it the NWO Wolfpack, but that NWO shirt was a moneymaker. I mean,
Well, that's
I have
the-
one in every color.
Yeah, that's the reason why
Yeah.
they did it, just to sell the merch and
but
stuff.
the original NWO, Hogan, Hall, Nash, Six, when the Giant popped over, Ted DiBiase, like that original like '96 run to early '97, that was the coolest.
Yeah.
That was better than to me.
Well,
The
you
Wolfpack was cool, but you know,
But you have Rick Rude, and,
towards-
and he
yeah.
played him. He was on both brands the same night.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
that was way down the line. But
Well, right, but
I mean,
still,
the thing with
you
NWO,
know, NWO
Black and White, was it eventually got so watered down. Like when Buff Bagwell joined, I thought that was cool. It made sense. Norton was kind of like that guy that was like, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love Norton, but at the beginning it was like, that guy joined too.
It was,
But then
but-
you had NWO Japan. Like
Yeah.
now we're getting into.
I think Norton was somebody that should have been played more as a really big powerhouse.
Well, he was
guy.
big in Japan, so
He was.
Yeah.
That's the problem with NWO. There was so many different areas of
Yeah.
it and stuff. If we're shooting just NWO, if we're believing it's Black and White or Wolfpack, I will have to go with Black and White over Wolfpack because the same reasons that you gave. If we're going just NWO or NWO Wolfpack, it's got to be NWO no matter what, because if it's not NWO, how would it be a Wolfpack? Fun fact, guys, 2 official wrestling museums Hall of Famers, okay, Wolverine and Alfredo, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so back in the day, before Alfredo used to team with Wolverine, he used to team with another Hall of Famer, Thrash, here in New England, in NEWA, and they were called the Wolfpacks. WCW reached out to Rocco D'Alessandro to buy the Wolfpack name because NEWA was on TVs just like this, on this station here and throughout all of New England, to buy the rights to the Wolfpack name, and that's how NWO Wolfpack came about, because they bought the name off of Rock. So imagine if Rock didn't sell it to him. And I don't think Wolfie got any money for that. But imagine if he didn't sell, what the name would have been.
No, it doesn't get any better than that.
Woo!
All right.
All right.
You're up.
I don't think we got one that was typed for us today.
No, I know.
They're in there, though. All right. Was ECW called something else before Extreme Championship Wrestling?
Yes. Yep, it was Eastern Championship Wrestling, and Todd Gordon was the one in charge
Yep.
at the time. And if you go on the network, they still have some. If you go back to the very beginning of like the ECW logs they have there, they still have some Eastern Championship Wrestling
Yeah.
stuff. You know, Snooker, Jimmy. I mean, it was a very different look. It was Jimmy Snooker was there. Salvatore Baloma was one of the top names
And we
there.
just inducted a couple people.
Johnny
WrestleMania.
Hotbody.
Yeah, that was a part of that.
Jason-
into our Hall of
Jason
Fame.
Knight.
Yep. And if you check, and it's not keep plugging the museum, but if you go to the museum's page, to the results and title histories, you can actually see all those title histories, and you can see who was around and what they were doing. If you really stop and look at title histories, you can see who they were trying to push, who they were not trying to push, who they were trying to work in. You can learn a lot from that stuff.
I mean, it's still it's still good stuff to watch. If you go back
Oh, yeah.
and watch that Eastern Championship Wrestling stuff, like you had the Rock and Rebel, the Sandman was there. Very different Sandman. He was coming out in the surfer gear because
yeah.
he was the Sandman.
You remember doing the shows with him?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Remember Club Stars, and he was so drunk.
So one thing about the Sandman I remember with this guy. is,
Remember, we got to keep on before.
No, just the Sandman. You know how he would
the 12 o'clock
he
knock,
would,
so
he
we
would drink
it's
the
on.
beer, smash it off his head, and toss the beer can. And we were a lot younger. This
Yeah.
guy goes and picks up the beer can, puts a plastic cup over it, and tapes it.
Yep.
And when we reconnected after years, I was like, "Do you still have that?" He
Yeah,
said he
yeah.
did. I was
I
like, "Does
remember.
it still have beer in it?"
He was so he had two 40 racks, and they were demolished in the locker room. This is before the show, and he was so, and I was like, oh my God, Sandman's working, like, let's go out there. And I hate giving away anything to break the business, but he was so loud in that ring that we were where the entrance was for Club Stars. Now, Club Stars isn't even Club Stars anymore in Johnston, Rhode Island. It's, I think, a senior housing or like center or
What a
something.
change that is.
Really a change. But, so you used to walk in this door and then had to go through a little opening and then go up a little hill. Like, I don't know where this hill came from because there was no hills outside at all. Go up this hill and then you start walking into this nightclub. And then there was the stage and all this stuff. And then at the very end was the stage where the ring would be at.
Right.
We were way back there before this like hill was inside this building. You could hear him clear as day in the ring. And I'm like, oh my God. And I'm like, I feel so bad they paid him so much money to be here for it. But the fans loved it though.
Also very, very, I learned very smart with wrestling, like more smarter than I thought. Like,
Yeah.
He was. All right. How much
Chuck?
How much does the WCW scale cars go for today? Does that say scale?
Scale cars.
What is
So
that? The little
those-
Matchbox cars?
Yeah. So they're the little Matchbox Hot Wheel cars.
I collect not all I collect like Batmobiles and like cars from movies. But I'm not paying more than if I have to pay when I pay when I get them, kind of breaking kayfabe there. But, so when I get them, it's like I only want to get the ones from movies or Batmobiles. So like I probably have like 50 Batmobiles. If it comes out in a different color, whatever.
Batman.
The WCW ones,
We're so getting sued.
I used to think were pretty cool.
Yeah, that I got a new room.
But I would never buy them. I remember
I
they had.
loved them.
I remember they had a Dean Malenko one.
Yep.
So
they were
didn't they have a
different
Conan one that
Yep.
was kind of like, if you've ever watched the movie Cobra, it was kind of like the car Sylvester Stallone drove in that
So
movie.
you're talking about the bigger ones.
No, I'm talking about like the Matchbox
tiny
size.
tinies.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, the Matchbox ones. So they had the ones that I would call like the race car size.
Okay, I know.
Right? And those.
The 1/18th.
Yeah.
I
And
don't
then they
know.
had the little. I loved the little Matchbox ones.
Yeah.
Not so much for the car, but for the cutout.
Okay,
Behind
yeah,
it.
they were pretty
And
cool.
I went crazy at all the different KB toys trying to find them.
Yeah, and that's where they mostly. I remember seeing them. They were a staple at KB. They
Yeah.
were all over the place. The one thing, and I don't have them now, but the monster trucks. They had a Goldberg.
Yes,
Which
yep.
is the Max D monster truck. I'm, having a young child,
So to,
know about monster
to kind
trucks.
of answer how much do they go for now, you're looking at anywhere from like $5 to $20 for a Matchbox one scale. It's not Matchbox that put them out, but
Yeah.
that type of that car with the logo behind them with the picture in it. Some can go up to about $50 depending on what particular one with condition. Your race car, NASCAR look, typically it's about $35 to $75. And all these are unsigned. And then you actually have ones that were just the WCW cars.
Yeah.
And it was just their actual race one. Those aren't as much as you thought they would be.
I don't think they ever did. Remember they had the race car drivers. I don't know. I'm not a hillbilly, so
Yeah.
I don't. Racing cars is a mode of transportation.
As a
It's not-
hillbilly have to.
Because it's racing cars is a mode of transportation. It's not a sport. Anyway,
Oh boy.
I did think
There
it was
comes the hate
cool.
mail.
I did think it was cool when they had the NWO race car at the very beginning of the NWO run, because it made it seem like it was branching out into more
You want me to cut him
sports.
off? I don't know what he's gonna say.
I was just
Not
gonna say, I don't
scripted.
think they ever released an NWO race car, like just a plain.
Well, this guy over here, look at Peter over there. He's getting all worried. He's like, oh my God, I gotta.
It's because he likes.
Oh, the-
It's because he goes to Londonderry. He goes to.
He probably does.
he-
You like seeing him drive around and around and around. I will say this though. I think it's QVC. Yeah, QVC was the one for WCWs because WWE was on Home Shopping. They came out with a pack. I think it was like 32 cars or 24 cars. Wherever pack that is, that particular pack it's going for about $225, $235.
a lot of race talk, yeah.
Yeah.
The only thing about race cars is I can feel it running down my legs. Ricky Bobby.
I try to cut them off. I really did.
All right.
All right, we're going to try to get to a couple more of your questions. Who knows if we could just get through maybe one because of him. What was the most gross thing WWE ever aired?
Gross. You know what? Boogeyman eating the mole off of Jillian Hall
That's what I
was
was
pretty
gonna
gross.
say.
The
And I don't know
hand-
why,
the-
because you knew it was makeup.
Yeah,
and you knew,
right.
But yeah,
The Mae Young hand thing was.
you knew that was what it was.
Also, so I'm going by grosses and morals. Maybe I think. Well, the Boogeyman thing was probably one of the grossest. Also, the Katie Vick thing was pretty gross. Katie Vick, Triple H.
Yeah.
But I would.
I
say
remember
probably,
though when I was younger, and I this guy is an awesome guy. The museum's done plenty of things with him. But remember when Hacksaw won that match and the snot was just hanging out of his nose? I think, to me,
Yeah, little things like that. Like when Owen Hart did the promo, where I think it was after WrestleMania 10 when he beat Brett. He had the spit hanging out of his
Yeah,
mouth.
yeah.
There's things like that stick out.
Yeah, today day and age, they will cut and be like, "Here's a tissue."
Yeah.
Do you want to try to get one more
Yeah,
in?
we'll get one more in.
All right. I'm trying to keep them moving. I got to keep them. I mean, that was a tough question to keep him.
Who was
TV
the
ready.
first WCW World Champion? Now, would this count from after it was NWA?
You asked me this question. How do I
It's
know?
real.
These
so
people
I
send
don't know
them
if
in.
it counts as when Flair left, and I mean, no.
I would think when the brand just became the brand of WCW.
Do you know the answer to it?
I'm stuck right now on it.
I mean,
It's not.
would it not be Flair?
No, it was it Luger?
Barry Windham?
I think it was.
I think it
Luger.
would either be Flair, Barry Windham, Luger, or Sting.
I think it was Luger, and then Barry Windham took it. Luger took it back, and then.
The thing is, at the time,
So
NWA,
who won the-
WCW, I don't know when
Hold
they
on,
actually
I'm gonna look that up
switched
now.
the belt.
Just because it was either the U.S. title or the world title that Luger won first.
Oh, Luger was a U.S. champion before he was a world champion. Luger was a U.S. champion in the 80s. He never won the world title until like 91.
All right, so then it's definitely not him.
Well, I would think it would have to be either Ric Flair, Sting, or Barry Windham.
Oh, so that's why if you go right to the officialwrestlingmuseum.com and you can look up title histories, it comes right up. And it was the Nature Boy Ric Flair.
It's pretty much a solid guess. I don't know. I don't think.
That's the second rule. of
See
the
if you
show.
can pull one out. See,
right.
see what it is, and see if we got time for it.
All right, let's see if we got time. All right, what is
What is it?
what is the biggest mistakes that AEW is making?
Put that one back in
We
because
gotta put that one back in
that's-
because that is
That could be a whole episode.
that could be everything in the world.
Right. We tried. We tried.
We do try. So to give you a fast answer to that question, if you're watching,
No,
this
no,
right
no.
now,
Don't even bother. No.
what we're gonna put in it is this a lot.
La, 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 la.
The problem with that brand is they don't book for shows to come or long-term booking is what we'll call it. They book for the night, and that is what hurts them a lot.
I'm not
That's
even
not the
gonna
biggest
answer it.
mistakes they make, but that's one of the things that hurt them a lot.
A quick answer would be lack of psychology. But
Yeah, but we'll put that back in because that's a really good question that we'll answer. Thank you guys so much for getting your questions in because without you, we cannot do this show. Off the ropes this week, we are going to do our own style of the draft. We're going to have some fun with that. Figures Are Us, we're going to talk about WWF magazines. Now, we covered that not with you, a long time ago. We're going to reissue it. Issues. That was a fun pun. I didn't even think of that. It just came to me. And in the four corners, we're talking about finishing moves. So thank you guys very much. Make sure you check out free preview for part 2 that's airing now. Scan this QR code on the bottom to help make National Pro Wrestling Day a reality. And you know what they say, folks? You write the questions.
we got the answers.
See you next week.